Maricopa County Recorder Justin Heap has filed suit against the County Board of Supervisors regarding authority over elections. The move prompted a countersuit by the board, and County Attorney Rachel Mitchell is charged now with defending county officials at trial, but Heap wants his own attorney, setting off another round of disagreements. Joining us now is Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell, and we should note that we have asked Justin Heap to join us on Arizona Horizon, and he has yet to respond. Thank you for being here. We appreciate this. I want to you've got a very interesting online situation, kind of a program to help as far as childhood exploitation. I want to get to that, but we got to start with this. What's going on here, especially as far as you representing the county recorder?
Well, you know, when the public elects the county attorney, they're electing the county's attorney. And so, as such, I not only prosecute crimes within Maricopa County, but I also represent the departments of government, including the county recorder, including the Board of Supervisors. And when there is a conflict, which there's not really a conflict here between myself and the recorder, but when there are two parties in the county who are at odds, then my role is to appoint attorneys to represent them, to either negotiate or for litigation if that happens.
The recorder did hire an outside attorney for this lawsuit. I believe he's involved with a group that's pretty well known on the conservative side, the MAGA side, these sorts of things. Are you saying, first of all, can he do that? If he does do that, what happens to the suit?
Well, he has gone to another outside counsel that was not appointed by me. Previously, I had appointed one attorney to him. He didn't, for various reasons, he didn't want that attorney. I appointed former Chief Justice or former Justice Andy Gould. And so this is a third attorney now. But it is my role as county attorney to appoint an attorney to represent him.
Your role, but I think the opposing counsel or that he hired said that there's nothing in statute that says that you are required to do that and he is required to use you. Is he wrong?
Our position is that he is wrong because there have been other attempts by departments of government to get their own counsel, and those have been struck down by the court. So we believe it is our responsibility for me to appoint somebody to represent him.
Is the lawsuit no good? You have to have valid representation. Is the lawsuit no good without valid representation if that particular attorney is the representation?
That's certainly something that's going to have to be hashed out in court. I know that listening to the Board of Supervisors meeting the other day, I think that that's the position that they're taking with their litigation.
So last point on this, you represent elected officials in the county. You got elected official, you got a bunch of elected officials, they're at loggerheads. You're saying you get to choose the representation for which side? Both sides?
Both sides. My role, because I have one client essentially pitted against another client, I can't represent either or both, obviously. And so my role is to step back and to appoint counsel. In fact, I do this routinely. Weekly, sometimes appoint outside counsel to represent departments of government.
Okay, outside counsel outside of your office.
Yes.
So that's going to be like someone from Yavapai County or Pima County, something like that.
Well, it could be out of county, but it's also, we have a list of law firms that we contract with to provide these services. Sometimes, for example, it requires a specific type of knowledge, and we'll appoint a law firm that has that particular specialization. So this is a routine matter for me.
Yeah. All right. We will see where this goes. Again, we originally asked you to come on the program a long time ago to talk about this campaign fighting sexual exploitation online. Give me the name of the campaign because it's a little bit of a tongue twister here.
Well, it's under the umbrella of our Report, Don't Repost campaign, which was started to prevent people from reposting these videos of kids, for example, beating up other kids, and to encourage them to report it to the police. But this particular subsection is called Cyber Predators, Real Risks. And the reason we chose that is, you know, it's summertime, kids have a lot of time on their hands, a lot of times they use that online. And so we want to make sure that parents know that it is risky anytime your kid is online.
What are the messages that you're seeing online that would raise warning flags that parents need to know about?
Well, we just indicted an individual out of California who reached out to a 14-year-old girl in Phoenix and basically threatened her family if she didn't provide photos to him. And then when those photos were provided, continued on to blackmail and threaten to expose those photos. And that's just one example. So it's actually tragically common. So the message is to parents, be aware of who your kids are talking to, learn the apps that your kids are using, the social media. I know that's frightening for people of a certain age group or older, including myself, but they need to do it. Understand that there are apps that are vault apps that can hide their true purpose. They can look innocent like a calculator, but actually hide photos and videos and messages. And then also how to talk to your kids. You know, educate your kids. Too young, there's no such thing as too young anymore, about the dangers online. And if your child does disclose or you find something out, be calm. If you get excited or angry or judgmental, the child might shut down and then report it to the police.
Right, right. A couple of laws here. Senate Bill 1585 was signed into law, I think, several weeks ago, modifies the definition of a dangerous crime against kids. Can you talk to us about that?
Sure. There was a thing in the law that didn't recognize undercover officers portraying themselves as under the age of 15 as a dangerous crime against children. So it closed that loophole. So that's one example of the efforts the legislature's making.
That's interesting. So in other words, people were saying just because that was an undercover officer, then the statute wouldn't hold up, the previous statute?
Exactly. So, well, it would hold up, but it wouldn't be punished as though it was a
Yes.
kid. So it was treating it differently depending on whether it was a real child victim or an undercover portraying a real child.
And another one, HB 1678, concerns AI-generated images. What are we talking about here?
Well, AI has gotten to the point where we cannot always distinguish between AI-generated child porn and real child porn. And that distinction would make it unprosecutable if we couldn't prove that this was a real child. And so what it does is it says if it's indistinguishable, it can still be prosecuted as child pornography. Because we know that child pornography it does not satiate a deviant desire, it fuels a deviant desire.
Are these kinds of laws common around the country? Is this something Arizona is in the forefront of?
Actually, the AI legislation, I think we were the 38th state, if I'm not mistaken, to enact that. So that is common. And then our dangerous crimes against children statute is unique to Arizona, but it was a loophole that needed to be closed up on the first one.
And again, the program itself, report, don't repost. How much did what happened in Gilbert and the whole goon activity, how much did that fuel this?
You know, I think it was the commodity almost that these kids were trading in. It was the street cred, if you will. And they, you know, and then people would see these videos of these beatings and post them. And that actually added to the street cred that they were getting out of it. And I even saw on my social media people posting it and saying, what are you going to do about this, county attorney? And I wouldn't even know, who are these people? Where did this happen? And so it's like, do the right thing, call the police, report it to the police, and stop reposting this stuff.
And it's interesting because we're kind of going back to what the recorder wants, and he wants IT authority, and he's very much IT oriented in his lawsuit. When it comes to IT stuff, tech stuff, we're talking about cyber predators here and the real risk. How difficult is it for your office to keep up?
It can be very tricky because, you know, I was at a class not too long ago that said that AI technology is becoming outdated or antiquated every 60 days. And so you're just trying to keep up with the criminals. But, I mean, it's such an important area because this is so destructive. I mean, we've had kids who have been sextorted, you know, threatened with the disclosure of their photos that they provided, who have committed suicide. I mean, this is a deadly game that they're playing. And so it's worth our effort.
All right. Rachel Mitchell again, Maricopa County Attorney. It's good to have you here. Thanks for sharing the information.
Sure.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.